Hey, it's me, Matt from New York. What are you talking about, eh? Probably hoping this isn't too disrespectful, but I don't know how to open up this video. But yo, this band is from New York, so this is my New York accent. Oh, they're just getting worse and worse, but I gotta do something. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazwell coming at you with a new music review. Thank you for coming on by. Always, thank you, thank you, thank you. Doing my best out here. I appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, comment if you're digging this. Yeah, so today I'm checking out the latest release from a band called Age of Apocalypse with their latest album called In Oblivion. If you've never heard of the band Age of Apocalypse, let me give you a quick rundown on them. They are a Hudson Valley, that's in New York. The Hudson Valley is big on hardcore metal. I've been noticing that lately. But yeah, they are a hardcore band from the Hudson Valley. They've been a band since about 2017, 2018, I think, roughly. I personally heard about the band when I started listening to Spotify, and they did that split with Pain of Truth a couple years ago, around 2020, I think. And that's when I first discovered them. And I was like, all right, this band's pretty cool, especially since out of all, when it comes to hardcore bands, music and style, particular vocals, there's not too many bands that have this very distinctive vocal pattern from like what's being done here is he has like a really high register and can sing very melodically. So that's what makes Age of Apocalypse seem so distinctive in the hardcore scene. And yeah, and I'm pretty excited that I've got to see them a couple times now with traveling to festivals and recording bands. They're really cool to watch because, like I said, their vocalist has so distinctive and has a very good way of commanding the crowd and everything. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this latest album, In Oblivion. And Age of Apocalypse is not your typical New York hardcore band. Most people who think of like New York hardcore, they probably think of like Cro-Mags, Biohazard, Sick of It All, very distinctive, very hard, heavy, aggressive bands. But Age of Apocalypse, they're a little bit different. They're aggressive and punishing in a very different way because they really stretch the genre's boundaries by mixing things that sound very ghostly, very divine, and quite feral at the same time. And this particular record lives in a weird, like strange tension because at one moment you're swept into something that feels very soaring and almost sacred. But then in the next moment, you are crushed beneath some riffs that could just like split pavement with how heavy they sound. And that duality is quickly established with their first opening song, Mortar Coil, which kind of drifts between, haunting spoken words and almost priest-like cleans. Like he sounds like a preacher, like preaching out with how well he can project before crashing down into some really jagged riffs and just very carnivorous low ending sounds. And to put it in a very simple way as well, Dylan, the main vocalist of this band, is the heart of this album. Part sermon, part wailing, part roaring. He's able to mix all these different vocal patterns into a very distinctive, very noticeable style. And he can sound like he's channeling something from the heavens in 1 second. But then in like the next phrasing, he's like dragging the listener straight into the abyss. It's a balance that few, if not many, hardcore bands have even attempted, and let alone like pull it off very convincingly. Instrumentally, the band just works as one locked in unit. The bass is unusually very prominent for this style of music, often sounding very plucky and twangy, giving the tracks like Maximum Suffering and In Oblivion a very added texture that keeps them from sounding just like, a wall of distortion. They add a lot of life to the songs. And the riffs just kind of slither, thrash, and chug along depending on the moment. They're very diverse and very versatile on this record. Sometimes they sound very vicious and sharp, like on the song Gilded Hatred, yeah. Or sometimes just swinging full on into pure heavy hardcore beatdowns, like on the song Symbols of Mourning. And sometimes spiraling out into something that's almost alternative rock style in like a single moment, as on the song Equalizer. And then you have the drums. While they sound very massive and very primal, they never seem overplayed. They never really engulf the other band members or the music altogether. They're always present, but with a very booming sense of fills and slow ritualistic pounding that makes every quieter passage feel quite menacing. And the use of an acoustic guitar across the record, like on Maximum Suffering and the mid-album song Apocalypse Intro, and the closer Over Mine isn't just like window dressing. It gives the album a eerie, almost funeral-like atmosphere, like a calm before the inevitable storm that's going to take over and just dominate. And so when the band fully erupts after these slower passages of the acoustic guitar, the impact is seismic. You can feel it. I would say the song Over Mine really benefits from this like slow burn dynamic they have here, because this closer turns into something very sorrowful but yet really towering. There's some really good guest appearances on this record that really do a good job of adding weight to the songs and the overall vibe of the record without really breaking the album's cohesion. Like Impulse has a guest feature from the vocalist of High Viz, which just blends in really nicely with the overall band's aesthetic. And then on Snake Oil God, Colin Young really delivers a very layering, divine vocal against all the hardcore grit on this song. Also, Snake Oil God brings in some nice classic New York hardcore style gang vocals, but with a little bit of a twisted and darker lens to it. And then rather than serving as distractions to this album, these moments feel like extensions of the album's overall atmosphere, you know, helping the sound very sprawling without ever really losing its core identity. What makes this album In Oblivion a very compelling listen is that it's not content with being another set of breakdowns and two steps in the hardcore world. Sure, the breakdowns do hit really hard on here, like on the back half of Gilded Heart, where it's very monstrous, and then you got the song Symbol of Mourning, where it finds some really new weight while it like slowed things down to a crawl. But there's a very conscious effort to avoid monotony on this record. Stop and go riffing, some different vocal approaches here, dynamic pacing really keeps things moving throughout this whole album. So even at its heaviest, the album just breathes. And at just the right length, the songs just fly by and never really blur into each other. Each song serving a role in shaping a record that feels very massive, unrelenting, but still very nuanced. In Oblivion is as hardcore as a haunted cathedral, heavy stone, cracked stained glass, echoes of sermons and screams. It's sacred and profound. It's brutal and melodic. And I gotta say, it's probably one of the most distinctive statements to come out of the hardcore scene in recent years. It is beyond impressive. So I gotta say, this latest album from Age of Apocalypse, In Oblivion, the guys did a really great job here, and I have to give it a good and decent 9 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this album. What are some of your favorite melodic style hardcore bands and some other bands from the Hudson Valley I should check out? It's your boy Matt Diazabal, and like always, see you in the pit.